To key or not to key? That is the question. So go grab your vibe juice and let's talk balling on a budget. And what's up, everybody? It's your boy C3, and I am back in the lab with another trending 10 list and market update for you, the comic book community. As always, make sure you hit that like button, slap that subscribe button, because I drop a new list every week. Now, starting off the list at number 10, we have Ultimate Spider-Man, issue number 1, the KB Toys variant. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first appearance of Ultimate Universe, Ultimate Title, and the Ultimate Spider-Man. Last recorded sale for this book was on February 17th of 2023, where a raw copy of this book sold for $40. There has been a 64.25% increase in copies sold on this book. The average price for a raw copy is $32. The average price for a 9.8 right now is $47. There's been 42 raw copies that have sold, and there's been 4 graded copies that have sold. And that gives us a total of 46 copies of this book that has changed hands on the secondary market. Now, there was a high sale back in December of 2022 where CGC 9.8 sold for $100. Now, fair market value has this book resting at $32 for a raw copy in near mint condition. And that is a beautiful price point for buy-in. Fair market value has this book resting at a budget-friendly $32. All right? So make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because you know I pride myself in bringing you some of the most up-to-date and accurate information on the secondary market. That's so you'll be in the know while you're out on the hunt for your next comic book, for your next grail that you're trying to add to your collection. Now, at the list at number 9, it's the man we all know and love, Wolverine, issue number 60, the direct edition, The Death of the Silver Fox. Let's go, Wolverine fans. Here are the numbers. Last recorded sale was on February 28th of 2023, where a raw copy of this book sold for $12. This book is currently trending upward, ladies and gentlemen, at a 67.30% increase in copies that have sold. Average price for a raw copy is $6. Average price for a graded CGC 9.8 is about $80. There's been 253 raw copies that have sold, and there's been 13 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 266 copies of this book that is moving on the secondary market. There was a high sale back in July of 2021, where CGC 9.8 sold for $125. But keep in mind, fair market value has this book resting at a very budget-friendly $6 for a raw copy in very fine condition. So if you are in the market for Wolverine issue number 60, keep your eye out on this book because it's definitely on the move. And when you are out there on the move, make sure you check with your local LCS to see if they have any of these comic books available for you. I like to check with my comic book shops before I go to the secondary market because I want to make sure that I'm supporting the local businesses in my community. I love my guys. They take great care of me, and I know your guys take great care of you. So we don't want to leave them out in the cold, but we still want to make sure we're adding what we want to our collection. All right? Now, at the list at number 8, we've got X-Men, issue number 1, cover B. This is first appearance of X-Men Blue Team, Beast, Rogue, Cyclops, Gambit, and yes, Wolverine. Last recorded sale for this book was on March 10th of 2023, where raw copy sold for $13. This book is currently trending upward, my friends, at a 67.57% increase in copies that have sold. Average price for a raw copy at the moment is $7, while the average price for a CGC 9.8 is $86. There has been a total of 685 raw copies that have sold and 164 graded copies that have sold. That brings us to 849 copies of this particular book that is changing hands on the secondary market. There was a high sale back in August of 2022 where a CGC 9.9 sold for $2,508. But this is for you, my friends. Fair market value has this book resting at an absolutely budget-friendly $7 for a raw copy in very fine condition. So this book is definitely obtainable for those of us who are balling on a budget. All right, so if you're in the market for X-Men, what do you think about X-Men issue #1, first appearance of the Blue Team? I have about 20 copies of this in my collection. I'm super happy that it finally started to get some recognition. Those books sat in the dollar bin for a very long time. So it's good to see them going up a little bit. All right, now, at the list at #7, we've got a book that you guys know about. This book is Fantastic Four, issue 247, first appearance of Christophe Canard, the adopted son of Dr. Doom. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, one of my most all-time favorite Marvel bad guys, Dr. Doom. Let's talk numbers. Last recorded sale for this book was on March 7th of 2023, where a raw copy sold for $24. This book is currently trending upward, ladies and gentlemen, at a 70.64% increase in copies that have sold. Average price for a raw copy is $5. Average price for a CGC 9.6 will run you $85. There's been 506 raw copies that have sold, and there has been 42 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 548 copies of this book that is changing hands on the secondary market. There was a high sale back in March of 2022 where CGC 9.8 sold for $290, but fair market value is giving us a beautiful price point for buy-in at $5 for a raw copy in fine condition. So this is definitely a book that you can add to your collection for not a lot of money. And with all that speculation going on with what's going to take place in the Marvel Universe with X-Men, Fantastic Four, bringing Galactus, Silver Surfer to the big screen, I'm excited about these comic books because you just never know what's going to happen. That's the beauty of speculation. That's the beauty of comic book collecting. That's the beauty of the comic book community. Now, gaining momentum at #6 on the list, we have Dark Horse's Clear, issue #1. And this is that Mike Del Mundo 1 in 25 variant. This is a book that went under the radar. Not a lot of people was paying attention to this book. So I was super weirded out to see this book on the list. But nonetheless, I put it up here because it's a book that I know comic book collectors would want to know about. So let's talk about the numbers. The last recorded sale for this book was on March 10th of 2023, where a raw copy sold for $12. This book has a current trend of 23.67% increase in copies that have sold this week. The average price for a raw copy at the moment is $27. Now, there is no CGC information on this book as it is a new book. It was just released this week. But I was able to obtain that there were 17 copies of this book that has changed hands on the secondary market. But keep in mind, back in March 6th of 2023, there was a high sale of $44 for a near mint copy of this particular book. So if you are in the market for Clear, issue #1, Mark Del Mundo's 1 in 25 variant, keep your eye out on that book because it's definitely doing numbers. And speaking of numbers, excuse me, let me take my first sip. I definitely needed that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving right along. At the list at #5, we have Avengers, issue #21, first appearance of Power Man, Eric Johnston. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, such an iconic book, definitely PC ready, definitely PC worthy, a book that has always been a must-have. Let's talk numbers. This book was last sold on March 7th of 2023, where a raw copy sold for $35. The average price point for buy-in right now for a raw copy is $32. The price for CGC 8.5 is $203. This book does currently have a trend of 77.70% increase in copies that have sold, ladies and gentlemen. There's been 457 raw copies that has moved, and there has been 48 graded copies that have moved, giving us a total of 505 copies of this particular book that has changed hands on the secondary market. Now, there was a high sale back in June of 2018 where CGC 9.6 sold for $2,700. But don't worry, my friends, because fair market value has this book priced at a very budget-friendly $32 for a raw copy in very good condition. So if you are in the market for Avengers issue #21, keep your eye out on that book. because it's definitely doing numbers on the secondary market. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've made it to the number 4 book on the list. And I'm talking about Wakanda, issue number 4, that second print. Yes, this is the first cover appearance of Kai Mi, the love interest of Toussaint Oduye. Yes, possibly our new Black Panther. We don't know yet, but he's ramping up, showing us little bits and pieces of his powers, so we'll see where they go with this. I'm all in as they continue to flesh out new characters moving forward in this Black Panther series. So let's talk about the numbers. Last recorded sale for this book was on March 10th of 2023, where raw copy sold for $10. This book has a current trend of 5.94% increase in copies that have sold. Not a lot of movement, but yet some movement. Enough movement to pay attention that you can get this book into your collection for a low buy-in, right? What I like to do is strike while the iron is cold. Don't wait for everything to start spiking so high that you got to spend $800, $900, even $1,000. Catch them while the market is still trying to figure out what to do with it. And I like this price point for buy-in. Average price for a raw copy is $12. There has been 21 raw copies of this book that have sold on the secondary market. This is another one of those books where there's not any CGC data on this book just yet because it too is a new book. It just came out this week also. All right, but keep in mind, on March 9th of 2023, there was a high sale for a raw copy that sold for $16. All right, but fair market value has it resting at $12 for a raw copy in their mint condition. So keep your eye out on this book because it's definitely on the move. Now, on the list for the second week in a row, at number 3, we have Venom, issue number 4, The Origin of Null. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have to talk about this book. This book is making significant gains on the secondary market. Last recorded sale was on February 6th of 2023, where raw copy sold for $22. This book has a current trend of 74.52% increase in copies that have sold. Average price for raw copy right now is $16, and the average price for CGC 9.8 is $82. There has been 931 raw copies that have sold and 54 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 985 copies of this book that has changed hands on the secondary market. Now, there was a high sale back in August of 2020 where CGC 9.8 sold for $250, but fair market value has this book resting at yet again a budget-friendly $16 for a raw copy in their mint condition. And you can tell that the comic book community is preparing for this Null appearance. They're preparing for the debut of Null on the big screen. They believe in this character. They're grabbing these books. They're putting them in their collection, and they're just waiting. There's a lot of flipping going on, too. Don't get me wrong. The market is definitely buzzing, cousin. So this book is definitely worthy of taking a look at, all right? So keep your eye on Venom, issue number 4, because it's definitely on the move. And moving right along, we have on the list at number 2, we have Tomb of Dracula, issue number unlucky 13. First appearance of Deacon Frost. Let's talk numbers. Last recorded sale for this book was on March 5th of 2023, where a raw copy sold for $355. There is a current trend upward, ladies and gentlemen, at 84.70% increase in copies that have sold. Average price for a raw copy is $67. Average price for a CGC 8.5 is about $255. There has been 401 raw copies that have sold and 82 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 483 copies of this book that has changed hands on the secondary market. Now, there was a high sale back in July of 2021 where CGC 9.8 sold for $2,640. But fair market value has this book resting at a budget-friendly $67 for a raw copy in fine condition. So if you are in the market for Tomb of Dracula, issue number, unlucky number 13, keep your eye out on this book because it is definitely on the move. All right, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit that like button, slap that subscribe button, and let's talk about the number 1 hottest comic book on the market. Something is Killing the Children, issue number 3, first appearance of Sheriff Joe Kavanaugh. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I said it I told you, I would not be surprised if all of the issues in this series begin to spike. And there was so much going on in every issue that this book has the potential to be one of the hottest shows on Netflix. And everyone's preparing for this to hit the market, all right? So pay attention to these numbers. Last recorded sale for this book was on March 10th of 2023, where a raw copy sold for $380. This book has a current trend of 97.25% increase in copies that have sold. The average price for a raw copy is $45. The average price for a CGC 9.8 is $168. There has been 617 raw copies that have sold and 81 graded copies that have sold, giving us a total of 698 copies of this book that is transitioning on the secondary market. Now, there was a high sale back in March 10th where a raw copy sold for $380. But fair market value has this book resting at $45 for a raw copy in near mint condition. There were so many copies of this book that has moved on the secondary market. I remember when it was first released, each issue was a must-have. Then it went to first print. Then they go to second print. Some of them even went to like an 8th print. So collecting this book was not only exciting, but it was definitely an adventure because it was so much going on. James Tynion IV and his cohorts really put their effort, they really put the time into creating a book that was collection worthy, right? And I think this one is definitely a book that you want to add to your PC. So listen, everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed the list. I really appreciate you stopping by, checking out the channel. Make sure you check out that other video just in case you missed it, and I'll be back next time. And you know what I always say, don't hate, congratulate. Show some love, because that don't cost you nothing. Appreciate. But no matter what you do, ladies and gentlemen, always, because it's good vibes only, keep it comics. Peace. I'll see you guys next video. Later, Gators. You know what it is.